Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's a party game. A fun party game where everyone gets to choose one of their favorite video game characters and just duke it out on silly maps with their friends. They can throw items at each other, summon cameos from even more various video game series, and even play with Pokeballs. It's all about fun, right? Well, that's the whole point. It's a game. And then you have your friend that walks in through the door and goes like, nah, forget that. Changes the rule set to 3 stocks, turns off all items, forces you to play on Final Destination, and then challenges you to a 1v1 because it's not about fun anymore. This is Evo practice now. Oh wait, Smash isn't at Evo anymore. Oh right. I meant SmashCon practice. See, this is the competitive Smash Ultimate scene. The Smash Ultimate community is full of young, ambitious, and competitive players all looking to compete against each other to see who can push sticks and press buttons better than the other. But there is just one problem. Everybody wants to press buttons better than the other. Him, whatever that is. Him. Everybody wants to be the best at pressing the buttons, but only one person can be the best. So, the question is, how does someone become the best in the world? And can you be the best player in the world? See, in the Smash Ultimate community, there exists a competitive group of people that will organize events where players can compete against each other in a tournament format. Now, whoever is the most consistent at getting the best results will be considered the best player in the world. So, how does one become consistent? One important variable to take into account here is skill. Supposedly. But there's a few other variables that affect the outcome of a match. Lucky for you, I've decided to cook up a small guide on what you can do to improve at the game and become more consistent as fast as possible. But before I tell you about that, let me tell you about today's sponsor. Introducing Battle Crush, the ultimate PvP brawler coming to PC, Nintendo Switch, and the Google Play Store. This fast and action-packed brawler comes with various game modes, and features a unique roster of characters inspired by different mythologies called the Calixers, which are heroes chosen by the gods. Battle on dynamic maps where treasure chests and items are scattered around the field. Items will help you survive, and gear will make your Calixer stronger. Jump into Battle Royale mode, where 30 players clash until there's one last hero standing. The arena collapses as time ticks away on an 8-minute timer, so find your safe ground and watch out for enemies. You can even team up with friends in Battle Royale mode, but if you're looking for something more fast-paced, check out Brawl mode, where you may choose 3 Calixers to battle it out. In this game mode, the arena is smaller, and is scattered with consumable items that activate on collection. However, if you're looking for something more one-on-one, then build-up mode is perfect for you. Fight against players from around the world in a one-on-one best-of-5 match, where the loser of a previous round gets to choose the next round's items first, making each round more intense. Battle Crush offers simple controls, with each Calixer being able to unleash up to 6 action skills to dominate the battlefield. Sounds exciting? Well, why wait? Check the link in the description to sign up today for the Battle Crush beta starting October 23rd. Thanks to Battle Crush for sponsoring this video, and I hope to see you all in the arena. Now, back to the video. Well, for the first step, go into the character select screen and don't pick Ganondorf. Just don't do it. Or Little Mac, for real. Next, you want to refer to the tier list and pick a top tier. Yes, tier lists do matter. Since the dawn of time, the top players of all top level competitions in video games play the strongest characters. In competitive Smash Ultimate, you play against people in a 1v1 and the objective is to take stocks from them. Characters at the top of the tier list will make this game plan easier for you. Imagine you play a match where you have to make 6 correct decisions in neutral in order to land a hit on your opponent in the hopes of taking a stock. And I'm talking continuously applying pressure and covering your opponent's options, just for your opponent to have to make 1 correct decision in order to take your stock. Now tell me, which character will make your life easier? To put it simply, if you choose a character that's low on a tier list, you're gonna have to put in more effort to reach the same goal as other people that are using a character that's higher on the tier list. Now sure, if your goal is to be the best player that you can be, and to be the best player with a specific character that you like, then sure, go ahead. Nobody's stopping you from that goal. But if your goal is to be the best in the world, you have to choose a top tier. Let go of your ego. Smash Bros is not a balanced game, and ever since Brawl, there has always been a character that was clearly above the rest. If we take a look back at Brawl, we can see that out of the top 15 competitive players towards the end of Brawl's competitive lifespan, 10 of them used Meta Knight in competition. This means that 2/3 of the best players in the world all played the same character. Why? Because tier lists matter. And it's not because they all just loved Meta Knight, but it was because this character was the best and most consistent for getting results. Then later on, Smash 4 comes out, and the best character in that game is Wario. Yes, you heard that right. This character was broken! Literally. He could literally just shift his momentum after being launched. This means you could be launched off stage and you can just magically gravitate back to it and one-hit KO your opponent with one of the strongest moves in the game. This was so broken that it was broken. As you can tell, this wasn't actually intended for the character and eventually got patched out. Fast forward a couple of patches later and now Sheik is considered to be the best in the game, and as you can tell, about half of the top 10 players are now playing her. Fast forward a couple of more patches and then tragedy struck. Sakurai introduced this DLC to the Smash roster, and 1 year later, Cloud Strife is now playable, and this character is ridiculous. One of the problems about DLC is that not only do you have to learn to play as a new character, but you also have to learn how to play against a new character. Fortunately though, Cloud was pretty easy to learn because he was a sword character, something that Smash cannot get enough of it seems. So because he was a sword character, a lot of top players were able to pick him up pretty easily. And now this person has a Cloud, that person has a Cloud, they have a Cloud, everybody has a Cloud. Even though his playstyle was a little more unique, it wasn't long before a lot of people were able to pick him up. However, Sakurai had one more trick up his sleeve. Bayonetta releases as DLC and everyone and their grandmother has a stroke. Bayonetta was a new brand of character that introduced all kinds of new mechanics to the game. She was a ladder combo character, except her ladder combos was her landing one hit on her opponent and then carrying them into the heavens. She literally only needed to land one hit in order to guarantee a kill. She also had the ability to slow down time, she was the only character in the game to have a frame 1 air dodge, and she had the best disadvantage state and recovery in the game. All around, you were playing yourself if you weren't playing her. In fact, for some reason, a lot of top players actually didn't want to play her. Not because she wasn't good enough. Oh, far from it. Bayonetta was so good that Sakurai heavily nerfed her. Heavily. And she was still the best in the game. She got nerfed from the best character in the game to the best character in the game. But top players were so content with the mains that they already have been practicing for years that they didn't want to switch to a completely new character. See, with Cloud it was easy. He's a sword character, so there isn't much to learn here. But with Bayonetta, you have to learn a completely new playstyle. So while most top players stuck with their mains, the newer and younger players joining the scene were picking up Bayonetta. And what do you know? Players that have years of experience and practice over others are now at the mercy of the new generation of Bayonetta players. And what happens when a veteran player picks up Bayonetta?
You did see how he called he's playing so approaching so much because you're winning. Like,
and there's still plenty of time on the clock. Make them come to you.
Zero, who was considered the best player in the world, lost one of the biggest tournaments in Smash 4 history to a Bayonetta player. 1 year later, Zero is nowhere to be seen, and Grand Finals is a bunch of high schoolers just goofing off with Bayonetta. Can you imagine that? You've been training for years at this game in the hopes of reaching the #1 spot, and then a bunch of kids with a fraction of the experience that you have just pick up the #1 character in the game and cheese their way to Grand Finals in the most important Smash event of your life, and then just mess around and have a conversation during Grand Finals as you watch in pain. Next thing you know, the top 10 players are now just a bunch of Clouds and Bayonettas. Fast forward to the present day and we have Smash Ultimate, and what do you know? History seems to repeat itself. Sakurai releases a DLC character that is far and away the best character in the game, and so many top players refuse to pick this character up because his playstyle is just too strange. Meanwhile, the newer generation of players that are just getting into the game are picking him up, and what do you know? They are dominating the scene over players with hundreds of times the experience. Let me break something down to you. Tier lists matter. MKLeo, who was considered the undisputed #1 player in the world, was playing a DLC character that was considered to be top 5 in the game, and for most of the game's lifespan, he was actually considered the best character in the game. So of course, it's no surprise that the best player in the game is using one of the best characters in the game to hold his title. But then one day, MKLeo decided to look at the tier list and think to himself, I wonder what it would feel like to play a mid-tier. Meanwhile, a teenager from Japan that was born in the same year that Sonic 06 released decided, I wonder what it would feel like to play Steve. See the difference? The current best player in the world is a Steve player with a fraction of the experience that our prior best player in the world had. And if we take a look at number 2, we have Spargo, someone that picked up Pyra and Mithra, another DLC character, except this DLC character is a sword character. See, because she's a sword character, a lot of other top players also opted to try her out. And if you refer to the tier list, what do you know? The #1 player plays Steve, and the number 2 player plays Pyra and Mithra. That's kind of poetic. I wonder who number 3 is. Game & Watch. What? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, there it is. And I wonder who number 4 is. Okay, that makes sense. Now, if only we had a Joker in number 3. Now, it's true, Steve isn't oversaturating the top 10 players right now, and he isn't as dominant in tournaments as Bayonetta and Meta Knight were back in their prime. But when you look at the current top 10, you start to see that even though there's not a lot of Steves there is a lot of Pyro and Mithras, and it's a little reminiscent of Smash 4 when a lot of people would pick up Cloud at first because he was the easy one to pick up. And the truth is, it's only a matter of time before the newer generation catches up to the same skill level as the current professional players and start to take over the top rankings with Steve. Or the top players take it among themselves to learn Steve and defend the top ranks for themselves. Unless they continue to ban this character. But who knows? Only time will tell. What do you guys think? Do tier lists matter? Or can Dr. Mario Main 1000 defeat the odds and take the number 1 spot for himself? Nah, seriously, pick a top tier.